Starting off this 25-50 stream, we start with some fireworks early on in the session. Action starts off when everyone folds to Nick on the button and raises it up. Then onto me, I'm in the small blind with Ace King. Definitely an easy spot to 3-bet, and I decided to bump it up to $1,500. Upon this $1,500 raise, I noticed that this sizing is a little bit smaller than what I should have gone. Probably could have gone anywhere higher than $1,600, but as played, $1,500 to go. Onto Nick, and he thinks that $1,500 is not enough. Surprisingly puts in a 4-bet to $4,800. It's a pretty weird construction already, as Nick is certainly going to raise pretty wide on the button, and obviously with that, I can 3-bet wide. But with Ace King here, facing this 4-bet seems pretty strong. I'm not going to put in a 5-bet in this spot. I make the call with a lot to play for behind. Let's see a flop. Going to a flop of 5-3 deuce to spades. Here with 2 overcards and a gut shot straight draw to the wheel, I check to play and flow with my straight draw, and Nick decides to throw out $3,300. Certainly for this price and on this type of board texture, I'm not going to go away. I don't think Ace King is ahead too often, but I can always hit a 4, Ace, or King to suck out and feel good about my hands. So for $3,300, I make the call and see a turn out of position. When the turn is the 8 of clubs, this doesn't change the board at all, and I check again. Now onto Nick, who thinks about his decision for a while and fires out another bet of $7,600. Okay, facing a double barrel, less than half the size of the pots, I think it's a relatively close spot between calling or folding here. Leaning more towards a call because I don't have any spades in my hand, and if there's an off chance that Nick is going to have a spade draw, then it's more likely for that to happen. There's a chance that I'm ahead, but when he does 4-bet, he has a pretty narrow range of high pocket pairs that he certainly can have as well in his betting for value. So it's a coin flip, and for the same reasons that I called on the flop, definitely still have outs to hit if I think I'm behind. I'm going to make the call once again and be a little sticky with Ace King. So not believing him, let's see a river. Let's try to hit to make our decision really easy. The river is the deuce of clubs. Essentially a total brick, a paired board, and this doesn't change anything. Here I'm first to act, and I think being out of position really sucks. And sometimes there's merit to leading as a bluff, but the more I think about it, the more I think it doesn't really accomplish much. So I check, praying for Nick to check this one back somehow. But Nick thinks about it for a long time. Maybe a minute or 2 passes, and ultimately he fires out a bet of $15,000. This $15,000 bet does not leave himself much behind, and this is a spot where all overpairs are easily going to be betting for value. And it's hard to imagine if he's bluffing here for 3 streets, and the only bluffs that he could have is pretty much just spades. So if he has spades in my head, then I got to give kudos to him. It seems a lot more likely that I'm beat in my mind with Ace King, and he has a value hand. So I just let my cards go, and obviously on screen, I can see the bad news. I lose to Jack High, so got to give credit to Nick for firing this river. Well played. Things not going my way, but always here to battle. I have Ace Jack of Diamonds in the big blind, now playing 5-handed at this point in the night. The cutoff opens it up to $300 and folds to me. This is one of the better players at this table, so happy to battle. I decide to 3-bet to $1,500. We're also playing plenty deep, and for $1,500, he makes the call. Going to a flop of Ace-6 deuce to spades, and I have top pair here. I decided to mix in a check. Certainly could have just bet a lot of the time, but decided to check in game, and he fires out $900 now once I check it over to him. Obviously, as played, not do anything but making the call for $900. I have top pair, decent kicker for the most part. Let's see a turn which comes the 9 of spades. Not an amazing card to see. Flush draw does get there, but I check it over to him and feeling much better when he checks it back. So we're going to a river, which is the 4 of hearts. At this point, I'm happy to just get the showdown or maybe just check and let him bluff. So that's what I do. I check it over to him, and he fires out a massive bet. $3,500 to go on this river. That doesn't change a whole lot. And as played here with top pair, don't think I can fold ever. Don't really know how I could ever fold actually as played. I've really underrepped the strength of my hand, and an ace is really good in this spot, especially when he checks back the river when the flush completes. So I make the call and see the bad news. He has queen jack of spades, and he's going to win this one. So well played by my opponent. I guess he could have gotten a little bit more if he bet turn and maybe got me to sucker in and call the river. But yeah, pretty big blow to the stack. This was a sneaky big pot after what happened on the river.